Okay, hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Brad Gottschall. I am the Lower Paxton Township Manager, and in typical fashion, I'm going to give a brief summary of tonight's meeting before we begin, particularly for the benefit of those who may be watching at home. For its first item under new business, the board will act to appoint Stanley Smith to the Township's Community Engagement Committee. After this, the supervisors will consider Resolution 21-03, a planning module or a revision to the official sewer facilities plan for development at Union Deposit Road. Next on the agenda is action on the first and last pay application for the Friendship Center gym floor restoration project. Lastly, under new business, the board will act on Resolution 21-05, approving the disposition of specific records as it does routinely. Under subdivision and land development action, the board will consider Resolution 21-04, authorizing dedication of portions of Seabiscuit Way, Bianca Way, and Citation Drive of the Stray Winds Farm development before approving of improvement guarantees. Lastly, the board will authorize payment of township and authority bills before the chair calls for any final announcements before seeking a motion of adjournment. And at this point, all the members of the board are seated and prepared to conduct business. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gottschall. I'll call this meeting of the Lower Paxton Township Board of Supervisors to order. I'd like to ask everyone to please stand, and Supervisor Zumas will lead us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would now like to move to approval of minutes for the meetings of November 17th, 2020 and December 1st, 2020. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the minutes for November
I don't think you might-
17th, 2020, and the business meeting for December 1st, 2020.
So moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye? Aye. Thank you. Now we're going to go to the time that is set aside for public comment. I would like to announce before we have public comment that the board met in executive session prior to this meeting and will do so again following. Public comment is a time set aside for the public to comment on any items that are not on the agenda tonight. If you are here and would like to speak to an item on the agenda, we'll take public comment on that item at that time. So would anyone like to speak on an item not on the agenda this evening? Would anyone like to speak on an item not on the agenda this evening? Okay. Before we proceed to chairman and board member comments, I would like to recognize we have a Cub Scout with us this evening. Young man, if you would like to just come up to the podium here and introduce yourself. Brandon Mariano, is that proper pronunciation?
My name's Brandon Liebeck. Actually, that's my Mariano is my Cub Scout leader.
Oh, okay. Your last name again, Brandon?
Liebeck.
Liebeck. Okay. Well, Brandon, welcome. Why don't you tell us what Cub Scout pack you are with and what you're here for tonight?
Well, I'm here for a community service badge, and my pack is 68, pack 68.
Okay. And where do you meet?
Bilingualstown Road, that church on the hilltop.
Oh, Englishtown
Okay.
Life.
Great, great. And who's here with you this evening?
My grandma.
Ah, hi, Grandma. Welcome. Well, thank you so much for being here, and hopefully we won't keep you here too long, Brandon, but congratulations and thank you for your interest.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Time is now for chairman and board member comments. Board members, do we have any comments?
I just have a couple things. Mr. Zumas and myself attended the Council of Government meeting last night by Zoom. It was a very short meeting because our speaker, of course, was not there. Mainly the business that we did last night was the bids for the contracts for the municipalities. Also, Lower Paxton Township, along with Susquehanna Township and CRW, were you going to touch on this, or am I okay? Okay, all right. We are in a corroboration with those, the other township and Harrisburg City, and we won an award. So it's a lot of information, so I'm going to read it. The Joint Pollutant Reduction Plan for the elimination of identified levels of sediment and other MS4 compliance measures permitted by DEP to the township, meaning us, Lower Paxton Township, Susquehanna Township, and CRW, the group affectionately referred to as the Paxton Creek Cooperative, on 2/11 received the 2021 National Environment Achievement Award. The award, presented by the National Association of Clean Water Agencies, recognizes public clean water utilities that have been made outstanding contributions to environmental protection, their communities, ratepayers, and the water sector. The Paxton Creek Cooperative jointly only 3 other award recipients nationally: Des Moines, Iowa, Public Works, East Bay, California, Municipal Utility District, San Francisco Bay, and the South Platte Renew, Colorado, within the category of watershed collaboration. I have attached to, okay, that's it. So, I'm sorry, I was reading the rest of it. But it is an award that is national, and I'm proud of our, Mr. Weaver, our stormwater, and being in with CRW and the Susquehanna Township. So what we're doing is working. Do you want to say anything?
No, just that the customers can see that their stormwater fees going to hard work cleaning up the bay and the Paxton Creek watershed, and that was quite an accomplishment of the group to achieve that award.
Yeah, I mean, nationally, only 4 in the country, so I
Right.
think so thank you for all that you and your employees are doing.
Absolutely.
Also, last Friday, the board did a tour of the new Friendship YMCA, and wow, they've done a great job over there, and they're very happy with the membership that has come forward, even though we're in COVID. So the Friendship YMCA is open, and they're ready for you to join. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, as soon as you feel safe doing so, we urge folks to go over there and become a member. And as COVID starts hopefully to wane here over the next few months, they'll be adding more services and more programs as people are willing to come back and participate in them. So any other board members have comments? I would like to say there was a young man, a resident who had contacted me about a week ago, who was going to be here tonight, but then he couldn't, and asked that I say a few words, who had raised a concern about the lack of handicap ramps, curb cuts in development in which he lives. As it turns out, unfortunately, the development is entirely on private property. Therefore, the township does not have the ability to go in and do anything. And the property owner is not willing to do anything. The particular development was built before the regulations required such things, so our hands are sort of tied. So I did ask our township manager if he would communicate to the Pennsylvania State Association of Township Supervisors this type of situation, so that as they may be drafting legislation and changes to the law going forward, they would have that on record. So if we would do that. So hearing no other board member comments, the manager's report. Mr. Godshall.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have no report this evening.
Excellent report.
Short and sweet. Thank you.
Okay, with that, we have no old business, but we do have a number of items of new business before us. The first of which is to appoint Stanley Smith to the Community Engagement Committee. Is Mr. Smith, if you would do me a favor of coming to the podium and just telling us a little bit about yourself. We've had the opportunity to read your resume and your application and, you know, all that sort of thing.
Well, and you've had the pleasure or displeasure of hearing me come and speak to you several times.
On a
from
number of
from the
occasions,
Park and
yes.
Rec Board,
So
yeah.
we really didn't need any of that, but thank you for providing it.
My name is Stan Smith. I've been a resident in Lower Paxton since 1995, and have been privileged to serve with the Arts Council as well as the Park and Rec Board. And it was through the both of those relationships that I was part of the actual creation of the CEC years ago when it was first formed.
Well,
I'm retired. My wife and I live just about 2 blocks from here.
oh, good.
Great.
Yeah. Well, we've greatly appreciated your service on the other boards, and we have a lot of things to do going forward on all of the above. So thank you for your willingness to step up on this committee as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great. Thanks for volunteering.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Stan. Well, with that, we do need to have a motion and formally appoint him to the board.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we appoint Stanley Smith to the Community Engagement Committee.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
There we go. One of our easier motions of the evening. Thank you, sir. We now need to take action on Resolution 21-03, this approving a sewer facilities plan revision for the Ricker Development LLC at Union Deposit Road. And Mr. Weaver, you're up again.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. You have Resolution 2103 for consideration this evening. This is our standard DEP planning modules. This particular 2103 is for the Ricker Development LLC, has proposed the development of a parcel of land identified as Ricker Development, Union Deposit Road Sewer, as described in the attached planning module in your packet for land development. The area is one of the adjacent parcels is in South Hanover. This is right at the property boundary, just off of west of Nye Road at the corner of Union Deposit Road and Copperstone Road. This parcel was not in our Act 537 plan for sewage disposal for public sewer. It is designated for on-lot disposal in the agricultural residential district. It's sort of an unusual planning module. One of the unusual things, it doesn't have a corresponding land development plan because Mr. Ricker, who apologizes, he can't be here this evening. He had a death in the family and was not able to make it. But Mr. Ricker has a buyer for the lot that he recently purchased. It's a 28.8 acre tract of land, and this person wants to build a house on it, and it did not pass the perk and probe. So it is permitted under the AR zoning to have public sewer and develop in accordance with the zoning regulations. So I talked to Amanda, talked to Steve. It meets all the land development requirements of the township. The unusual nature is he doesn't have a corresponding plan because he's just going to build a house.
Yeah.
The planning module also has a connection in the future for the neighboring property because they do have a septic system, and Mr. Ricker knows the neighbors and is affording them a connection when needed in that planning as well. So the force main that is required to convey the sewer, because it's not going to be gravity, will tie in at the Hunt Club development there. And there's a corresponding map that I wanted to explain that is basically provides all the AR neighboring parcels. It's down pretty far. It's like the 40th page down, but it's the conceptual map. And what I wanted to explain to the board, because it is unusual, is there's quite a bit of undeveloped land in the neighboring adjacent parcels. So I did review with Steve that if, in fact, Mr. Ricker would not build a residential house, or his neighbors wanted to develop the land and the board considers the rezoning, that the authority does have the ability to request that they upgrade the facility to accommodate any new development if that would occur. But right now, as it stands today, what we know is that there's no development planned in the AR district in those adjacent parcels. And Mr. Ricker has submitted this plan. It has been approved by GHD, and it is ready for board action. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Board members?
What was the size of the lot again?
29 acres.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this. I've driven past it several times. It's pretty substantial. It's a large lot. But, so you're saying that, if we approve it and somebody comes in and says they want to put, 5 houses on there, that force main would have to be maybe potentially upgraded again? I mean, depending on how much waste they might produce? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct.
Okay.
So we can't oversize the force main because what happens is the losses on that force main affect the pump, and then the pumps would just burn up.
Yeah.
So you don't want that. So you have to size the force main for the appropriate number of houses.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is the risk here for anything.
There's no risk on our
There's no
part.
risk because- yeah.
And Mr. Ricker says he has a buyer, and
Sure.
if that one falls through, he has another buyer. So I bet people want a lot of land. So 28 acres, 29 acres for one house, if they can do it.
Me. Okay, thanks.
Yeah,
That's a big lot for Lower Paxton
it
Township.
sure is. One of the bigger ones I've seen since I worked here.
Yeah, really.
Gets a stormwater bill.
Yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be, don't tell them. Board members, any questions? Okay, any public comment or questions? Seeing none, is there a motion then?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the action on Resolution 2103, approving a sewer facilities plan revision for Ricker Development LLC at Union Deposit Road, as presented by Mr. Weaver.
So moved, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job. We need to take action on a final application for payment for the Friendship Center gym floor restoration project. Mr. Godshall?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this action item this evening is listed as the Friendship Center gym floor because if you recall, the project was begun when the facility was yet the Friendship Center and not the Friendship Y. So that is why it is listed as such. And this item, pay application number 1, authorizes payment in the amount of $43,478 to the contractor HDI Enterprises LLC on the again the Friendship Center gym floor restoration project. Having completed requirements of the contract and now being fully compensated, this contract to HDI will also be closed out at this point. The pay application and contract closeout have been recommended by the township engineer and staff.
This is the company out of Tennessee?
Correct.
They did a great job.
Yeah,
Yes.
Oh,
the
it's
floors were
beautiful.
beautiful,
Yes.
absolutely. I was a little hesitant because they were from, I had questioned that because they
Right.
were from outside. Brad, what was the total bill on that?
The
Oh, so
$43,478.
this
just
was
this
it. I didn't know
one.
if
Yep.
we had paid them any
Nope.
more upfront.
This is the first and last pay application. So
And that came from grant money, right?
correct. Yeah. This, as you recall, the Dauphin County local share grant was in the amount of $47,000. So
Okay, great.
we were
Okay,
under
good.
budget.
Very good.
And this will be the last, or certainly, as I understand it, the last of these big ticket projects that the township will be responsible for, these infrastructure, brick and mortar type costs associated with the Friendship Center. In the future, these kinds of things, the tab will go to the YMCA, and taxpayers will generally not have to worry about any of this
For their portion of the building,
for their portion of the building.
keeping in mind that we still own the building and we are responsible for the part of the building where the senior center is located,
Right, but when you
as
talk
well as
about,
Dreyer.
yeah, anything in relation to the actual exercise recreational facility, these are the kinds of things that taxpayers will be relieved of. And even when it's grant money, then this is a situation where potentially we could use grant money for something else.
Yep.
Brad, could there be a little bit of a price tag if we have to pay to have the climbing wall taken down?
The particulars of that project have not yet been discussed with the Y. But yeah, I mean it's our. We did mention to the Y that is our asset yet, and so
Right.
any monies that the township would receive as a result of the bid, would come to us. So I anticipate they would not be very fond of putting any money towards removing
Right.
it.
But what I'm saying is if we don't get any bidders, then we're gonna be responsible to take it down, which is gonna cost us some money.
Yeah, again, I mean, it'd be a discussion worth having with the Y at that point to see what we can do about it. But
Okay,
And we've always known that's an outstanding issue.
Mhm.
That's one of those things
right.
still under the checklist of taking care of the transaction, as it were. But yeah, that's waiting for us.
Hopefully, hopefully somebody will buy it, and that will cover at least the cost of removing it. Maybe, hopefully, a little bit more would be nice, but if at least doesn't cost us anything. I will say we're looking forward to the time when programs at the senior center can resume and ramp up, and hopefully the vaccination process will speed up here dramatically over the next few weeks, and within the next couple months, the seniors will be protected and feel comfortable in returning there. But I do want to reassure everybody that the senior center will be reopening as soon as we can safely do that, and as soon as people want to come back. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. We do need a motion, however, on this issue.
I'll make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we approve the final application for payment for the Friendship Center gym floor restoration project.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. And let's see, we now need to take action on, Mr. Godshall wishes to go into his destructive mode again on certain records. This is relatively routine,
very routine. Yes, sir.
spring cleaning.
Something like that. Yeah. These documents that we are looking to dispose of this evening come from the police department, so they will be very happy to free up some space in their archives.
Is there a motion on the adoption of Resolution 2021-05?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we approve Resolution 2105, approving the disposition of specific records.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. That now takes us to subdivision and land development plans. We do need to take action on Resolution 21-04. This to authorize the acceptance of portions of Seabiscuit Way, Bianca Way, and Citation Drive of the Stray Winds Farm Development Phase 5A. Mr. Gotcha, would you like to add to that in any way?
Yes, sir. Just one note. Mrs. Zerby and her staff has been working very well with Triple Crown on this particular dedication. It is a bit, while this is a very routine, the board fortunately and unfortunately has seen a lot of road dedications
Yes.
over the years. So it's very routine in that way, but again, just a note of appreciation to Triple Crown. They have worked with us in this particular instance to extend an improvement guarantee bond, which you may see at some point. This because of the fact that a number of the homes yet to be built in this phase are on the Susquehanna Township side of the phase, and the only ingress and egress to that area of Phase 5 is through Lower Paxton Township roads, which you'll be accepting dedication of this evening. So in order to maintain the physical trait of the roadways, Mrs. Zerby has secured an extension of the bond through Triple Crown to allow for some more time to pass and that development to fully be fleshed out. So thus protecting the township.
So we get to plow more roads?
I was just going to say, if we approve this tonight, does that mean Thursday we plow them?
Steve, I don't know.
And for those who may not know, when a road is when a development is built, the developer puts in the road to our specifications, and then we have to accept those roads, and they're dedicated to us. After which we then are responsible for all future snow plowing, maintenance, and everything else. So
We could table this till spring.
If Mr. Klein is watching, he will have to add these to his list for Thursday, I think.
or maybe the weather forecast will be wrong once again.
That would be nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so they already have the second coat on it, but the improvement guarantee bond will mean if they should be really bad at the end of the development, that they'll take care of it. Okay.
Yes, correct.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve action on Resolution 21-4, authorizing the acceptance of portions of roadways and Stray Winds Farms. Those roadways are Seabiscuit Way, Bianca Way, and Citation Drive. I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and seconded. Any public question or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, that will then take us to improvement guarantees, of which there is one. This is for Kendall Oaks. Any question about the improvement guarantee? If not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the improvement guarantee for Kendall Oaks.
Thank you. Congratulations on getting that right. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
This takes us to payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and the Lower Paxton Township Authority. Mr. Treasurer.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the payment of bills for Lower Paxton Township and Lower Paxton Township Authority.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, aye.
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 Are there any announcements from the board, manager, solicitor, or anybody?
Brad, do you know how many miles of roads we're up to now with all the, I didn't know if Mr. Klein had ever said, with all
I'm
the
not
ones.
sure.
I thought it
'Cause
was 281 up until 10 minutes ago.
Is that what it is?
It's something in that ballpark. I'll get an updated.
I'm just curious,
Yeah,
because the past year, we really have dedicated a lot of
Yes.
roads, so,
yeah.
okay,
I'll get an updated
okay.
count on that.
Okay,
Certainly.
And it really helps a lot with snow plowing too, if people can at all, if it's at all possible, to pull cars into driveways and not leave them along the road. If they're along the road, that slows everything down. Sometimes it's not possible, but if you can get them off the road, that is a very big help. Any other announcements?
and I do want to thank our Public Works Director, Jeff Klein, and the employees out there, because they've been very busy this winter. Very busy.
I'll second that.
Lot of long hours.
Yes. And one storm that lasted for 3 days on top of it all, so that was challenging. But our next board meeting will be a regular business meeting of this board, which will be held on Tuesday, March 2nd at 7 p.m. in this room. There being no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
One
Wait.
more. We have Sewer Authority next Tuesday at 7 o'clock in this room.
Yes. But the next meeting of the Board of Supervisors is Tuesday, March 2nd.
It's Sewers next week.
Yes. We have a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
You motioned.
I'll third.
No, somebody else has to
I'll
second.
second it.
Of all the things to have difficulty with. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.